Your enjoyment scores are fucking great, man. It's like this one, 3. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1. 2. Chinese Odyssey, 2. Chinese Odyssey, 2. Capernaum, 5. Devil's Backbone, 2. Parasite, 9. Police Story, 4.
Emmanuel is our longest suffering member.
Yeah. Longest what?
Suffering member.
Longest suffragette member.
Yeah, longest suffragette.
Just by height.
Yeah. What?
Ben said longest suffragette, and I said just by height.
Just by height.
Yeah,
said-
as in-
Are you
because
all
if you
right?
were tall, you would also be long.
We're just it's going too fast.
Oh, if American Gods was a movie, I'd pick that. Anyway,
do you have no idea what your pick is this week, Emmanuel?
I mean,
Yeah.
I forgot to think about it because in my head, it was still Alex.
Well, worst case, we can swap it again with somebody else if you're in trouble.
Yeah, well, I can go if you want to go.
Oh,
Oh.
have you got a pick now?
Mhm.
Oh, okay, that works.
It's a very interesting pick as well.
Is
The
Pat
thing
all right?
is, everyone's seen this.
Yeah,
so-
I'm fine.
You just made yourself a sad face.
I've had a rough evening.
What's up, Pat?
Oh.
Tell us your ways.
Now we're live on YouTube. Tell us everything.
Work related.
Well, I think everyone knows.
I don't.
Smiths.
Just look on my Twitter feed and you'll get all the answers.
Oh, Man United.
It's sports related.
Oh, it's foot. Okay.
The boot fall. Hey, it's Simon.
All right.
Alex,
Go.
to clue you in on how upset Pat is right now, Man United conceded more goals against Brentford today than they have since the war.
What?
Ooh.
Yeah.
No wonder Pat's that upset. It's 1942.
I'm very.
Sorry, what was the score?
4-0.
No.
It's gotten to a point where I've got like 3 games lined up after Christmas. So I'm thinking about getting a refund on all 3.
No.
I'm very sympathetic, but your face was a fucking picture just then. No, it really made me laugh.
It was really funny as well because the first goal that it might have been the second actually, I'm not sure, but one of the goals that Man United conceded, the goalkeeper like fell on the ball and accidentally pushed it under his armpit and into the goal.
We've all been there.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pat, but I did find it really funny.
Well, it's bad enough today. Monday week, it's going to be worse.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Why?
Taking bets on 8, 9, maybe 10 when Liverpool come to town.
Yeah.
But
Oh
this is
dear, oh
Film
dear.
Club Chat. Let's not worry about my misfortune as a football fan.
Brexit.
I'm paying for in my adult years for what I enjoyed as a kid. So,
Aren't we all?
Enjoyment has a price.
Good to see you, Simon. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Wait, quick question. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
In silhouette.
Can,
yes.
can we hear you now? You stop talking.
Well, no, it's not that. It's just that I'm trying to make sure I'm working with the right goddamn fucking settings again.
It sounds like you're coming through your. Well, actually, I don't know because I was gonna say it sounds like you're coming through your mic, and then you covered your mic, and no difference was made. So I'm assuming not.
Either way, it sounds all right.
Yeah, it sounds fine.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. It doesn't make a difference then. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
I've never seen someone be grumpy that their mic works.
Well, I mean, it's like the mic works through the headphones and like the mic works through the laptop. It's a completely different situation. right?
This piece of shit detects when I'm talking.
So, are we waiting for John as well?
No.
Nah,
Nah,
John's not having a good time at the minute.
John's been
So-
visited in hospital by the Avengers, and he's kind of realizing his time's coming up. So
Ooh.
Oh no.
Which Avengers at least? Is he getting like proper Cap and
No,
Iron Man,
no.
or is he only getting like
No.
Hawkeye? It's
he's
very
get,
big difference.
hey, you fuck off about Hawkeye. He's getting the shit Avengers, like Shang-Chi and all that.
But Shang-Chi's not even really a proper Avenger yet.
I
you know?
agree. I agree.
It's like because like he's met with like fucking like Bruce and Captain Marvel, right? But hasn't met any of the other main three guys, and it's like, are you part of the Avengers yet? Not really.
No.
It's like,
I'll level with you. He was the first one who came to mind for some reason. That's never happened before, but here we are.
Pat, you're drinking that bottle of Coke as if it's a trumpet.
He's had a
It's
high.
Like it's a tuba. He's channeling in the tuba.
Rob, he's drinking Coke to forget. Okay.
There's
Too soft for that.
no, there's
No,
Jack in there, isn't it, Pat? You tell us.
Decent idea.
Mix.
Oh, are we also waiting for Dan? Or is he?
Nah,
said-
Dan-
what did he say?
Dan's watching a live podcast at the minute.
And's busy being a homosexuale.
Dan's getting laid. That's what's happening.
Oh, don't.
The hump.
You,
Coral
you
is-
said it first, right? It's your
Coral is sitting on his nose.
Bloody hell.
I just hope he doesn't lie.
she's singing "Tell Me Lies, Tell Me whatever."
You guys are awful.
Okay. Wait, has Ely scored yet? Sorry, that sounded bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Damn it.
maybe in an hour or so.
Yeah, the only score we're waiting on is John.
Hey, look, Rob, I am awful. I've got a terrible personality, as you know.
We all do.
It's important you come to terms with it. It's all I want.
Oh man, Emmanuel is not rated this high at all.
Emmanuel does that. He recognises that it's a good film, but
You
he
Yeah.
did.
also
Doesn't like it.
recognises that he never wants to watch it again, or should have had to watch it in the first place.
Yeah, but his saying name is Nope, right? It's next to Nope, which is
Get
my
out. Nope.
My opinion to watching this film again.
Yeah,
Oh,
do you want to
okay.
see Get Out? Nope. Okay then.
Mm.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Has John scored? Get out? Nope.
Well,
Has-
I guess
yeah. Has
Oh,
John
wait,
watched Love Exposure? Nope.
I was to ask Emmanuel if he watched Them then.
This is good. This is
Oh,
great.
them.
Yeah. On what is it on HBO?
The old.
Those guys.
Them,
You're-
don't you mean us?
Isn't it Them?
Them. Us. You.
Them?
Me.
This is like that scene in DJ Where's My Car.
No, Them, like the one that is like
What'd you
based
say,
about the
Rob?
black family in that white neighborhood.
No, I know what film you're talking about. I just thought it was called Us.
Yeah, it was us. That was Jordan
It is
Peele.
called us.
Yeah, the other.
I
Jordan
thought it
Peele
was called
film was us.
You.
Yeah. Them was a monster movie and the B movie in the 50s about John Ants.
So which film are we talking about?
I feel like you guys are fucking with me for a second, but I feel like, God damn it.
Yeah, us is the thing. It's called us because of like United States, but it's called us, the family.
Anyway,
Are we talking about us, them, you?
that was a good film.
Wait, who's on
prefer-
first? What?
Oh, they them.
Oh, Them's on first, not who's on first.
What?
Oh no! There is actually another film called Them.
Yeah, it's the
Yes,
John
but
Ann
this
movie.
is- yes, but this is not it.
Yeah, that's I
No,
completely
we're not
forgot.
watching it. Chapter 2. We're
Oh,
watching.
God damn it! God fucking damn it!
Oh, man.
Sorry, I got my directors mixed up, and I got my films about racial segregation mixed up as well. I apologize.
We all do it.
Oh, this was everything I wanted.
Okay, so are we starting something now, or shall we just? Or do we need? Okay. So
Yeah, no, we could start.
I would say that today's sponsor is Lipton Iced Tea and Windows Laptop, because you know that's the main goddamn thing that he used everywhere.
Do you know
He
what? I
confused the
would-
fuck out of me.
That's just
No.
gives you
Yeah, no, I
away.
will say just on that Windows laptop thing. So even though it is obviously kind of like a paid promotion kind of thing with her using Bing towards the end, what an effective way to make somebody look like a psychopath.
Yeah.
I'm not even really looking for the answers. I just want a map of Paraguay.
It's
Robert. Oh.
Hey.
It's what?
It's decent these days.
No, it's not.
I've been trying it out again for the last off and on for the last 2 weeks.
I was
So-
just going to say for the last half an hour. I was like, that was an
Oh,
effective
no.
paid promotion.
On the computer because I can't be bothered to just switch, and I don't like using Chrome on the Windows machine. Tired of how much RAM it takes. I'm just like, you know what? I prefer to use a more lightweight browser. So I'm either going to use Microsoft Edge or Firefox and be cool with it.
I know.
Or Go sometimes as well on my phone. But either that or Safari on my phone. But anyway.
Robert, why did you pick this film?
I wasn't originally going to pick it, but then when I saw that Nope was coming out this week, I was like, oh, this will be like a nice little event to get excited for Nope, and it'll be really nice. And then me and Ben went to see Nope yesterday, and I got so excited by it that I got a migraine. So it was successful to a fault on that front. But yeah, it was always a film that I was going to pick at some point. Sorry, Emmanuel?
Sorry, you had the migraine.
Yeah, it happens. it was quite lucky, to be honest. So it started like half an hour before the film, and I started getting like the blind spots and everything. But then, just as the film started, my vision came back, so I was all right to watch it. But I was still a bit confused because of it. But yeah, so yeah, I think this was always going to be a film that I was going to pick at some point, just like not now. And yeah, I think there's two reasons why I really love it. And the first is that, well, this is something that I saw somebody say the other day, and I was like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense.
Sorry.
And they
Sorry,
basically said,
Just when you said not now, I was like, if not now, you.
Not now.
And it's gonna just get us started all over again. Sorry.
but yeah, so like, yeah, the reasons that I love it. So one of them was something that I saw the other day, and I was like, yeah, that really makes sense. And it was that somebody on Reddit said that Jordan Peele is essentially just M. Night Shyamalan, but knowing what he's doing. And I was like, yeah, actually, because they both do the thing that I really like, which is they do this thing where like they're kind of telling two stories at once, which is why it's so satisfying to go back and watch it again. Because the first time you watch it, you're watching this story about kind of an interracial couple where one family is kind of like really awkward and really sort of like on the surface white liberal, and you're just kind of like, I don't know, everything's kind of like tending towards that. But then when you watch it again and you know where it's going, literally every single line has a double meaning. And I think that's really cool. And it's something that M. Night Shyamalan does, but I think Jordan Peele does it better in this than M. Night Shyamalan's ever done.
Yeah.
Someone
second
does
reason-
something better than Shy. Get out of here.
Get out, Alec.
Yeah.
And the second reason that I really love it is just as like a fan of horror. I think the best horrors are ones that sort of play on something that's kind of like a concern at the time. So like, for example, something like Lost Boys, where it's about vampires, but really it's about people being paranoid about drug taking and that kind of thing. And I really like the idea of this taking. Sorry, I got really gassy
Are
there.
you all right?
No, I got really gassy. Yeah, I really like the idea. I really like the idea of this taking sort of like awkward white liberalism and making it into a horror film. And I think it's really cool because it came out sort of at the end of Obama being president, and it was during this time where sort of, you know, like you had like the height of awkward white liberalism because you had people going like, oh, well, we've had a black president now, so racism doesn't matter anymore. We don't have to talk about it. And there was just this really kind of like weird sort of thing where people were perceiving that we were living in a post-racial world. And I think I think turning that on its head and making a horror film out of it is just a really good idea. And yeah, let's talk about it.
Good.
So what's she filming, man?
Um, I didn't know that in that Shyamalan kind of thing or comment. That's pretty cool. In short, I'm glad that after the test screening, he changed the ending.
That's something I wanted to talk about, actually. It's interesting that you brought that up.
Oh, there's a different ending.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
the ending it's a bit too realistic. Which was, but yeah, get into that later. But I thought it was a cool film to make. Again, with this happening at the time, I thought it was can't remember the word, but context at the time. No, I don't want to say that, but that's close enough. Basically, it made sense for at the time. Just wasn't having a good time, and yeah, just like just really want to beat up people in the film. The characters.
Yeah.
And in that turn, I'm just like, I don't want to watch this, but you've done very well. And it was creative. I thought, yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I think when I first saw Get Out, then the original ending really struck me even harder. But seeing it for the third time now, I think he made the wise decision of going back, well, reworking it and making it more upbeat. In case for people that don't know, the original ending is that in the cop car that arrives at the end doesn't belong to Rod. It's actually the real genuine police who literally get Chris and arrest him, and he's basically put straight in prison, and he's that flash forward to like another 7 months of him being behind bars, and Rod meets him behind the screen, and I feel that yes, it is more realistic and exactly how it would go in real life. I think you needed, as me and Rob were speaking yesterday, you needed that catharsis of like him escaping all this horror and all this madness. He needed a break from it, to be frank, and it probably been too much of a heavy film if it did that, and I don't think it would have been the success it was, and it would have like hit the zeitgeist as quickly as well as it did if it didn't have an upbeat ending. But either way, I feel that either ending they chose had pros and cons to each one, so they're both brilliantly done, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the original ending would have probably made it a better film, but I can see why you'd opt for a more kind of like escapist sort of like fantasy kind of ending, because it's just, I mean, it's it's already heavy enough. Like I think it would have made sense to do the original ending, but yeah, I don't begrudge Jordan Peele for going for something a little bit more.
Did they do that with like the Will Smith movie, the I Am Legend, because they changed the ending for that particular film as well?
Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if Jordan Peele had his original ending, it would be the more artistic ending, I guess, the more like realistic style ending, and it's like the more like his vision of the ending, right?
Yeah.
And like the like, because he had to do test. You guys think he had to do it for a test screening, right? And everyone just hated the ending, I guess.
Yeah,
that's totally it.
And for the same reason that Ben was saying, like there was people saying all about the escapism. They were saying it would have been great and very realistic, but they didn't want to be reminded of what they were going back out to in the real world when they came here to watch this film, especially as an ending. So yeah, he had changed it again, so it would be more successful and more widely received. So in that way, it's like, do you choose art over enjoyment, or enjoyment and success and different things? Because he's still telling a similar story. It's just that you're rooting for him to get out of the situation and to it's kind of like the difference between. No, I'm not going to compare it to that. So it made me think of something else was very completely different. But in Watchmen, like Rorschach, the character, I'm rooting for him to get out. But realistically, he would never get out of that situation. He'd be killed. And he was killed. I hate it, but
Spoiler alert.
what it is. Oh, sorry.
I don't give a fuck. Go for it.
In a comment from most allies. But yeah, it's just it's what do you choose? It's going to be good either way. But I think this made it much more successful this way than the other way, because anyway.
I think it works. Oh, you go ahead, some first.
Oh, sorry, I was just saying to Emmanuel, like, but didn't they change the Watchmen ending anyways, because they changed it from the comic books, from what the actual thing that destroyed like the world was, because
I did that.
Yeah,
but
because
ultimately it's the same outcome.
I mean, is it though? Because like essentially, this is going on an extreme tangent to Watchmen.
I was gonna say.
I'm sorry, but I'll be real quick about it. It's like in Watchmen comics, the big bad thing was made up alien creature, but they blamed it on an alien creature. But in Watchmen the movie, it's Dr. Manhattan, the American guy. So shouldn't like the rest of the world essentially blame the American? You know what I mean? So it's a bit odd, like how they kind of like change it out. So like the outcome of it would be a bit more political, if you know what I mean. But
Speaking of political,
but I digress. Anyways, this film, sorry, it's just me like just cutting into it. Just say, it's like because Jordan Peele does his comedy. He's always done his comedy more than everything else, right? To see him do this was such an interesting take, because certain parts of it are still like it still has like that sort of like comedy, like little edge of comedy in it.
Yeah.
Because especially like with scenes where like they're trying to do a fist bump, but like you have the guy like shake his hand with the fist, and I was like, that's peak awkward white and black people comedy, and that's perfect. But this is a horror film. I was like, oh yeah, gotta like remind myself every time he does that like perfect sound effect of like not a jump. Well, I guess it's kind of a jump scare where he's like plays the violin style. Like, I was like, all right, yeah, of course, it's a horror movie. And it's like, all right, you go. It keeps you on toes. It keeps you on your toes. And it's like, all right, yeah, it's like it's a perfect balance between that. It's like it's such a great film, and no wonder he got so much like money from this and to get his new film, right? You know, this is like it's like yeah. But didn't he say in like the interview that he doesn't really like being called the new like innovator of horror movies? He thinks it's like a title that's too heavy for him to hold, I guess.
Yeah, there was a funny thing a little while ago actually where somebody posted something on Twitter that was like, oh, call me crazy, but even after just 2 films, I think Jordan Peele is the best horror director ever. And he replied to it just being like, get out.
See,
that's great.
Yeah, I think
who said best director?
Just some random guy on Twitter.
Random.
Oh, okay.
I think like knowing that there was like an ending where like Chris gets blamed for it all and gets arrested and all that, and like knowing that that's now not part of the film because it made audiences sad, that's kind of annoyed me, to be honest, especially because I think that kind of is detrimental to the point it's making about sort of like awkward white liberalism and like kind of going like, I don't know, we want to like show how supportive of black people we are, and we're now going to take that to a fucking creepy degree. I think like the point that's making and having that end with Chris and get blames for it all and then is incarcerated and all that would really fucking hammer home I think the point is trying to make. So I'm now kind of more annoyed that they copped out on it.
To be fair, I felt similarly when I discovered that ending originally. I was like, well, this would have made it even more of like a gut punch. And in a way, it really would have been because of how like everything Chris has gone through. It's like he can't really explain any of it to like anyone out in the outside world who comes into that and discovers all these dead bodies. It's like, how do you explain this? It's like you can't. It's this is the secret thing that's been happening, and it's such a high concept, and no one will ever get their head around it. And if the house is burned down anyway, he's obviously the first like person that they're gonna like put the blame on. And but I did like the fact that you see Rod come in he's actually active and doing something and he's actually driving and trying to find his best friend, and he actually gets there. So in hindsight, the new ending is good. The fact that Rod actually comes and helps save the day to a degree.
Yeah, I'm glad he gets out. The titular getting out. I like Chris and Rod, but like I don't know. It just feels a little bit like, do we want to go to like the logical endpoint of this premise? And then it's like, no, people get uncomfortable with this, and it's like, the point of this is that you are uncomfortable. Surely, like you've spent the last hour and a half making me uncomfortable, and now you're gonna just soften the blow at the end, and because it's this, and I'm just like, oh,
I don't think it's a terrible thing. Like,
you forget how it is. TSA gets it handled, TSA gets it done. That's the whole point of it.
Do TSA get it done?
Oh, I mean, no, not really.
I think TSA more go through your luggage, open all your liquids, and then just put them all back without opening them, like closing them properly again. Then all your luggage smells of aftershave. I think that's what TSA do.
I do think, like I said, I do think the original ending would have made a better film, but I think it's just, I don't know, it sort of does what the rest of the film does, because even on that little bit at the end, you've kind of got a dual thing going on, because when Rod turns up, you get that initial kind of like sigh of relief where you're like, oh man, he's actually going to get out of this. But then as soon as the film ends, like my mind goes to like, but what about Logan? Like he's still walking around with somebody else in his body, and you've got all of these other people that they've presumably done it to.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you get a sigh of relief, but it's still a really heavy ending because it hasn't really changed anything other than the people who were doing it aren't around anymore. But that's nothing to the people who've already had it done to them.
Yeah, there was so much like that Jordan Peele must have considered trying to make this film. I think one thing that I really wanted to add was like the first time I saw it when Chris goes back to save who is supposed to be the grandma, the black lady that's the housekeeper,
Georgina,
and her, and I was like, why is he saving her? He knows it's not really her anymore; she's gone, but he goes back and still puts her in his car and takes her. But the fact that he had this past trauma with his mother who died for the same reason of being left to die on the street was quite a really interesting parallel. So he's kind of like remorseful in that sense. He's like, look, I can't leave my mother here alone. I can't leave this person here alone like my mother was left alone. So I was like, I can get it, even though it's like stupid, like she's not her anymore, but still kind of thing.
I do want to agree with you and say like they do. He does like a really, really good job of like establishing Chris's character through like quite little. Like it's all kind of in like just kind of lingering shots, and it's all like Chris's POV.
Yeah.
And the time he is taking to like weigh this up is saying like a lot about him. But before we carry on, I do want to give Pat a chance to give his opening statement if he has one.
Yes.
Fucking hell.
In a lot of ways, Chris was shafted like Man United.
Shit, I didn't even actually give this much thought. I didn't think it was going to be this early.
You're the last in the line.
I thought it was like, if I'm just going based on the film itself rather than the the social commentary and stuff like that. I thought it was one of the best sort of crafted horror films that you could be forgiven to think at first it isn't a horror film. Like sort of the setup was more of a thriller, but like it's so clever at disguising its horror elements. But it's just everything about it, from the writing of the entire piece, and the acting sort of brought Jordan Peele's vision to the forefront. Beginning, middle, and end sort of was all tight. I mean, I didn't actually know about this the original ending until just now. To the point where when I first saw it in the cinema, I was like, "Did that happen?" And I can't remember. So Ben would be best one to judge, because I saw it the first time with Ben, and then I saw it with Rob a week later. So I suppose Rob would be a good judge as well as to whether that actually happened.
Yeah, no, the original ending was never released. It was just test audiences that saw it.
Just on the Blu-ray, that's how I saw it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I've got the Blu-ray as well, but I didn't even. There must. I take it there's two versions of the film then.
I don't think it's even a version of the film. I think you can just watch the scene.
Yeah, it's just a late scene with commentary.
Oh,
I would
okay.
be really interested to see that.
Yeah, check it out, Alec. It's really good. It's slightly different, but it's brilliantly done.
We just went pick Get Out, and I was like, well, Rob's just done that.
But the more you sort of think of it, like it's quite relevant to sort of the current day Trumpism era. Granted, it's quite uncomfortable, but I think it really needs to be. I don't think we should be pulling any punches where that's concerned, because that allows sort of whitey righties to win. It's the more they feel uncomfortable, then the more that we're actually going to get change in society. So yeah, that's my opening statement.
I think sorry, Emmanuel, was you going to say something?
Yes.
Jordan Peele's next film, yes.
Swiftly followed by them.
Sorry, go on, Rob.
That was,
I thought you wanted to say something.
Oh, disappointment.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I would just like to say, I watched this when I got back with Manx and Johnny, and Manx complained like the whole fucking time.
What?
And he was like just sitting there, and he was just going like, "Well, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, well, that's a bit cringy. Oh, well, this and that." And then right at the end, he went, "Yeah, I like that. That was really good." Like Johnny like came in and out, and then he was just like he saw the bit where like he talks to Logan, and like he goes to the fist bump, and then he grabs his hand, and Johnny went, "Hey, that's like a white guy in a black guy's body." I was like, interestingly, yes, you're right. So, yeah, good job. That was evident to someone who was watching like little minute snippets. Like,
well, actually, that's quite a good segue into what I was going to say earlier. So, I think a good thing to talk about is the characterization of everyone, because we touched on it with Chris, but I think everyone is just perfect. So yeah, like we said with Chris and the whole thing with his mum, and like how she died because of like his perceived inaction, and then him going back to get Georgina because of that and that kind of thing. Like, I think there's a massive spider in front of me.
oh no.
That's perfect. I'll just. There you go. Can you see it?
No, I can't see that massive
very tiny.
spider.
There you go.
Sorry, I just enjoyed seeing that happen on your face. I could hear your thoughts. You were just like, I need to deal with this, but I don't quite know how to at this minute. But it'll come to me. I know. Oh,
But yeah, no, I think every character is just like really well put together. Like even from sort of like the granddad, who's sort of set up this whole scheme because because he lost his race.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, like
shit.
even from him, like it's perfect. There's a funny bit with that actually. So in the original script, when at the end when like Chris is like limping away, and then the granddad kind of like runs and catches him. In the original script, he was supposed to like pin him to the floor and shout, "I finally beat you, Jesse." And then they did this. They did the scene, and then Jordan Peele watched it back, and he was like, "Yeah, so we're not doing that anymore."
That was the correct call.
But yeah, no, I just
fucking
think
hell.
they're all put together so well. And one thing that I really, really like is the bit where they're in the car and they hit the deer, and then the policeman asks for Chris's ID, and then Rose is like, "Why he's not driving?" And she basically uses her privilege as a shield, right? And that's what I was talking about earlier, where you've got this like dual narrative going on, which I think is done so well in this, because on the surface, you're kind of going like, oh, she's aware of the problems that he could face that she wouldn't from a police officer asking for his ID and all of that kind of stuff. But then when you know what she's got to do, it's like, well, maybe she just doesn't want a record of him being in the area. But then you think about it again, and it's like, well, maybe the policeman wasn't being racist after all. Maybe the policeman knew of multiple black people going missing in this area. Like yeah, just there's loads of bits like that where it's just like, man, when you go back and watch it again, it's there's so many possibilities of what's going on, but it's all tied up in this kind of like surface level, like we're white, but we're fine, we're tolerant, and we don't have a problem with everyone. And yeah, just I think it's just really cleverly done, because you've got all that going on the surface, but you don't know what's going on underneath it. And yeah,
This is a definite like one that benefits from a second watch. And like knowing what's happening with that sort of stuff. Like there's just kind of layers of meaning, because like you watch it again and you hear like someone go, "Oh yeah, when my mum died, Georgina stayed on," and there's always like been a part of her in this kitchen, and you're like, "Oh my god!"
That was so good. Yeah, and she's just standing there like.
That's another really good example actually, because you're kind of like looking at her going, thinking like, she's like a maid or whatever.
Wow.
But it's literally his mum standing there because she loves that kitchen. Like it's so perfect.
I was gonna say it's the same with this. I was gonna say it's like the same thing with like him smoking. It's like, no, you can't really damage your body. Smoking's so bad for your health and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, she's a very caring girlfriend. That's the first watch. Second watch is like, oh no, she just wants to make sure that the product is like still higher value because he's not a smoker anymore. I was like,
exactly, yeah.
Even this was something in the CinemaSins video that I watched about it as well. Like there was a bit where he's like, it's like literally right at the beginning, and he goes like, "Do they know I'm black?" And she's like,
"Yeah,
no." And then CinemaSins is going like, "Oh yeah, this like like." Not letting them know, or telling him that they don't know he's black, is like a red flag, and it's gonna like spook him to like not want to go to the house and everything. And I was just like, no, because that's not what happens. In like the whole point is that she doesn't consider it an issue, or at least that's what she's trying to project. She didn't consider it even an issue enough to mention it, and it's like, that's really fucking clever as well. Like she kind of laughs at it, and she kind of makes fun of him for thinking it's an issue because it's just such a non-problem. And it's like, that's so fucking clever.
Do you know that? I was watching an interview with Jordan Peele, and he was saying that the whole idea of that came from this situation that he was in, where he had a white girlfriend, and then he met her parents, and they didn't like acknowledge that he was black. And in the back of his mind, he was going like, "This something's weird. Like somebody should have said something by now. I don't believe that they're as okay with it as they're saying." Yeah, I think that was kind of cool. Like it just came out of that sort of paranoia from that one situation.
It's like it's like the scene with the police in the car where they want to see his license and all that. There's so much that she kind of overcompensates her guilt in that sense. His girlfriend is like, "Oh, why are you making a big deal out of this? Why do you need to see his license and all that?" And it's like, and Chris is like, he's so shrugging his shoulders halfway through it, and it's like he doesn't really care ultimately because he's used to it. But she's making it a bigger deal, and it's kind of like
and that's like a mindset you like. I can see making sense where you go like, I shouldn't have to show my license. This is the way it fucking goes, man.
Yeah, he's used to it.
Should I like make a fucking fuss and possibly get killed over this? Nah, I'll just have my license and I'll just show it when it's asked for, and I'll just carry on. And it's like, like that fucking sucks. But it's a thought process you can kind of go like, I can see why, but you know.
Another character I think is done really well is the blind guy. Because he's like, there's one little line,
the guy I think from Dodgeball.
I think of him as the guy from Office Space. He's Milton.
Oh yes, it's it. Oh yeah, fuck yeah, that is him. Oh fuck! I thought you said what's his face, and I was like, I don't remember that. And then I was like, Office Space, yes. Oh, he's the guy from Dodgeball. He gets really angry, and he like his mail order wife hates. Sorry, Sam. His mail order wife hates him, and he can like, and he's going like, hey honey, and she's like, and he goes, yeah, Alpha Love. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I really like a line in the exposition bit that he does when he's basically explaining sort of why they do this. And then he sort of comes to the sort of end of it, and he's kind of going like, well, don't lump me in with the rest of them. I don't really care what color you are. I just want your eyes. And that's just like, it's such a perfect line because it's basically what the whole film's about. Because it's this white guy who's got an idea that he's not like the others because he doesn't care, but equally he is only seeing Chris for what he wants out of it. Like
engaging in it.
He's still an object for him to use, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the thing. Like he literally only wants his eyes. He doesn't care that it's Chris taking the photos and Chris is the person who's making this art. He literally just thinks it's his eyes. That's the difference between the two of them.
And he's still willing to condemn him to an existence in the sunken place. And it's like, man, fuck you. Like, he's just like, I don't care what color you are. And I'm like, that's really fucking nice. But, like, fuck off, that's still a horrible thing to do to someone. Like, eat shit.
So, like, takes someone's identity.
Yeah, interesting. He thinks that separates him. Like,
but the thing is, if the more you think about it, it's worse than just taking someone's body and identity. They're like literally in limbo for the rest of their waking life. Is that they in the passenger in someone else's body, not being able to do anything. That is that's a primeval fear, is just being stuck, not being able to move for literally every waking moment of your life is just horrifying.
Fucking hideous.
It's just such a horrible thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's multiple things, like kind of stories that play out, but in a natural way. Rob, what were you saying about the director's girlfriend at one point that inspired, like, got him to think about this?
Yeah.
So
basically, he was dating this girl, right? And then they hypnotized him, and then sorry.
Yeah, no, it was just he had a white girlfriend, and then when he met her parents, they didn't react to him being black. So in the back of his mind, he was just getting more and more paranoid about it because he was like, are you actually okay with it, or are you not bringing it up because you're not okay with it? And like, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I think that's kind of like the nucleus of what I love about this. It's just there's so many bits where, like with the blind guy and sort of like his attitude towards everything, it's literally what the whole film was about. Like you could literally just sort of play that scene and that is it. And yeah, I just think it's
So that's the thing, like I don't know, I think if you were to watch it on the surface, you go like, oh, I mean, at least it wasn't like like a racial thing, and then it going like, no, that's his mental gymnastics. That's what he is doing to like separate himself from it. And it's like, no, motherfucker, you're still engaging in this. You still think of Chris as a commodity for you to use. Fuck you. Like,
well, I mean, is that why there's that one random Japanese dude
Oh, yeah.
scene, right?
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, okay, I understand that it's supposed to be like a creepy white privilege thing, but why is there just like the one Japanese dude? And he gets in, and he's not like a side character that's there. He gets introduced, and the Japanese guy's like, "So, how do you live as an African American? Do you think it's a good thing or it's a bad thing?" I was like, I purposely added it in there to make it seem like it's slightly less racist, if you know what I mean. And it's like, oh no, we're all right. We've got like the token Asian guy instead. It's like, I mean, that's a bit weird, right?
There's a really interesting bit with that scene, right? So everyone at the party is wearing red except for him. And the idea is that sort of everyone who's wearing red is already involved in it, and they've made the choice that they want to sort of participate in this auction, but he's still on the fence and he's still trying to work out whether it's more advantageous for him to be an Asian guy than to be a black guy.
Oh,
okay, that's interesting.
I didn't see that. I'll go double check that now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Because everyone, that silent bidding thing was so fucking creepy, though. Yes,
that's
everyone.
another interesting thing, actually. So on the silent bidding thing, on their bingo cards, they're all already marked as winners.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, I did see that. They had the strikes through it.
What a fucking drop mic moment that was.
Yeah, drop shit, Rob.
I thought that was just like to initiate like who they are, because if it's quiet, you can't really go, oh, I want to bid for this guy's body. I have to, and that's why I thought that's just to differentiate them. It was there like I get the double meanings behind it. I just didn't notice that one as well. I mean, I noticed that they were winners. I didn't notice there was a meaning behind it.
There's another really interesting little bit while I'm on these little details that I think is brilliant. So when they're sitting in the garden and Georgina fills their cups up, she fills up the parents' cups, although they're already full, and she doesn't fill up Chris's, even though his is empty.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Well, who was the one that she? Are we talking about the iced tea moment where she
It's the bit where Georgina kind of like she comes out to the garden, serves them, and then Missy clinks her drink, and she sort of has a moment where she's like,
yeah, I thought that was Chris's mug, but maybe you're right. It was what's her name? The girlfriend's, wasn't it? I can't remember now.
Yeah, show it fills a glass.
Yes, she overfills it, but she doesn't overfill Chris's at all.
Yeah,
that's what we're saying. Okay.
What did you say about the silent bidding again? Sorry.
So on the bit where they're having the auction, where the kind of the cover up is that they're playing bingo, but they're actually having an auction for Chris. On the bingo cards that they use as auction cards, all of them are already marked as winners.
Yeah. I did. I saw that, but didn't register it. Yeah.
That's what I love about this. Like, that's what I keep saying. But
Nope,
like on a rewatch, everything just kind of comes together, and you're like, man, Jordan Peele really thought about this. Like, I love
it. Even like just little bits of dialogue where, like, Humber's fucking name, Bradley Whitford, is explaining kind of like his family and that, and he's doing the bit about Jesse Owens. And he's going like, yep, and he almost got over it. And again, not something you'd think about on a first shot, but like you just go like, oh my god, this is so fucking cringy. But then you go like, oh, that's why that's there, and then you can kind of go like, I'm kind of annoyed at the end when she goes like when she calls them grandma and granddad, but like. I kind of wish that it was all sort of like, oh, okay, like he's the jogger, and that's why he like runs and stuff, and I kind of wish they left that for you to sort of work out and just kind of piece together. But I think for the most part they do.
Yeah, it's really only the end that you get that confirmation, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's such a neat little thing to be able to pick up on a second shot, and then you kind of realize just how much significance has gone into each of these lines. and it's good. It's good dialogue.
I mean,
I
there's
say that
like,
rarely.
there's one particular scene where it was when he was talking to Rod, and Rod was going, "Man, there's so many like red flags. It's some sort of like Jeffrey, what is his name? Jeffrey
Dahmer.
Yeah." And I was like, I had to search who that was, and I was like, "All right, it's a serial killer," but I was like, "But he's a cannibal. It's not. I don't feel like it's the right serial killer. There's so many other serial killers." And I was like, I feel like it's not the right choice for a serial killer. But then again, if I go too deep into it, I'm thinking like, which serial killer is the best serial killer for my horror movie? It sounds a bit weird. Oh, actually, and a side note on that, because I had to do like a quick deep dive into like serial killers. One of his last request meals was he said, could he eat the warden medium rare?
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, yeah, you're a cannibal, you're gross. So it's just like wrong type of serial killer, because so many types of serial killers. It's like, why cannibal? I feel like if it was from the chat I missed last week, if it was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it would make sense, right? But this one was like,
I don't want this to be a thing. Can we make sure we don't mention Texas Chainsaw Massacre ever again? I rewatched these calls and I can't fucking stand it. It's a shit film. Let's never mention
every week
it again.
then, yeah.
No weeks. No, this will be the last.
Anyway, speaking of serial killers,
there's going to be jam in your future, my friend.
No, speaking of cereal, I should say, didn't everyone find that was like creepy how she was eating like the Fruit Loops at the end?
That is such a good
weird.
that makeup artist needs a fucking like she didn't get paid enough. That was so fucking cool how they just made her look like a fucking alien, like just by like just drawing her hair back a bit, and stuff like that. That was just so fucking effective. Just making her look a little bit more just.
It's really nice how she transitions to that as well, because you've got kind of everyone surrounding Chris, and like Jeremy's going a bit mad with his like, I don't know what it is, like a lacrosse stick or something.
What is it?
And then she's just in the background, like barely paying attention, just like putting her hair up, and it's just like, man, you are cold.
She's so fucking good.
Do you know, there's a bit of acting which I thought was like brilliant. And it's the bit where Chris is like, we need to go. And she's just like, yeah, we need to go. Okay, we'll go. And it's like, I know you're acting now, and I didn't before. I thought that was so well done.
Actually, there was like a little bit that I got a little bit funny about. And it's when she's talking to Rod on the phone and she's saying her delivery. I was like, if I heard this, I'd be like, hang on a minute. But like,
that's why Rod was like, "Oh, she's fucking acting. That shit is."
Like Rod doesn't react immediately, but I was kind of, but like she keeps doing it, and I was like, "You've been so fucking good, but now you're simulating yourself sounding upset." It's like, I know it's really weird. It's like the film is telling me that she's putting on an act, but I don't think that she should be putting. I don't know how to articulate this. I'm hoping you're getting what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Like she's putting on a fake voice to tell us that she's faking it, but she shouldn't be putting on a fake voice to fool Rod.
Oh, so the like acting within acting has hit that uncanny valley of acting, is what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah, I was just like, there's too many layers now, and you've got a bit confused, and someone should have picked up on this. But like, you should be you should be just be doing your normal Rose voice, doing this, but you're now doing your. I'm pretending to be. Oh my god, that's so scary. And I'm like, no, you should be doing the voice you were doing already, but like, still having the alien face.
Yeah, I did feel the same, that she didn't sound convincingly enough that, oh, Chris has just ran off and got a taxi and left, that you'd be more distraught than that. You wouldn't be like, whatever. And Rod's like, where is it?
You sound like you're doing a fake voice and you shouldn't be.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the only problem she had in that moment, because everything else is consistent.
Well, even just like the little bit with the with the keys, because that's why I was so impressed by it. She's like visibly panicking, and Chris is going like, "Where the fucking keys?" And then and then she's sort of like, "Yeah." And I was just like, "Oh, that was really fucking good. That was So she's so good that little scene made me go, I really wish she'd just tried that again."
Yeah, I don't think I've seen her in anything else either.
No, she's like I thought she was you know the episode of Black Mirror with the lesbians who like meet up in the virtual world. I thought that was her.
Yeah,
she's in The Martian.
Oh, she's in The Martian.
No, the girl who's in Black Mirror.
Oh, right.
She's in The Martian. I thought that was her, and then I went to go and look her up, and then I was like, "Fuck, she's in nothing at all." She's in like a bunch. She's like this big TV actor.
I thought it was really good casting as well, though, because I absolutely believe that her parents were her parents.
Yeah, they were so good. Yeah, what's his name from? He's the guy from Cabin in the Woods, right?
Yeah, that's Bradley Whitford.
And
He's a sweet actor.
Yeah, but yeah, she's been in like 5 films, and like I don't know, like 20 TV shows, and I'm just like, you're so fucking good.
Oh, speaking of casting, so interestingly, Rod was originally supposed to be Eddie Murphy.
What?
I can see that.
I was saying to Ben, I can see why it wasn't Eddie Murphy, because the budget of the film was $4.5 million, and I'm sure Eddie Murphy would have doubled that.
At least.
I'd have found that really distracting.
I think it works, but the fact that Rod and Chris are the same age.
But there is a reason.
Could you imagine Eddie Murphy going like, "I'm a TSA agent"? He's just like, "No, you're not. You're Eddie Murphy, man." Come on.
Like Camilla was saying, too over the top. He's a different type of comedian actor. It's not that type of film.
There is a reason for it, though. So the title was inspired by an Eddie Murphy bit. So he used to do this bit in the 80s about horror films. And the crux of the joke was him saying that white people in horror films never get out when they're told to get out. And he's like, in the Amityville Horror, the house tells him to get out. And he was saying he does this bit where like he imagines that him and his wife have just moved into a house, and he's looking around and he's like, "Oh, the curtains are really nice and we don't have to do much work to it, and it's such a nice house. Get out. It's a shame we can't stay." And like that's where the title came from, was just that bit. So that's why Jordan Peele wanted Eddie Murphy in it.
Can I just say though, I love that. I love how that scene where Andre snaps out of it and is telling him to get out, and it's like just a panicky thing. And oh, Ben, you look so short.
Wow, that room's huge.
You look like a Chucky doll.
I've never seen like such a perspective zoom.
when Andre snaps out of it, he tells him to get out, and Chris thinks he's being aggressive, and I was like, this should, I don't know. I was sort of like expecting it to feel contrived, and I was like, no, this is brilliant. This feels absolutely pitch perfect here. Like,
even the way they play it off,
how frantic he is.
Yeah. And I love the bit afterwards where Missy's obviously like hypnotized him again, and then they're coming out, and he's like, "Oh, I'm glad I'm myself again," and like that kind of thing. It's just like, "Oh, you creepy bastard," but that's so good.
That's the thing. Like Chris already as well like feels uncomfortable, so he would take that as like a personal thing. But like even actually, there was something else I want to talk about with Andre, and that's the bit where Rod takes the photo to the detectives and that, because I was like, he's showing them a picture like of a missing person, and they're like, yeah, all right. And I was like, what the fuck? But then I was like, if you're showing them a picture from a garden party, yeah, that's kind of another layer that like the Armitages have, where you're going like, oh, he's at a garden party, really? He doesn't look that fucking missing, to be honest.
I love that bit where he's like, he didn't used to dress like this, and then he got a white lady who's like much older than him, and they're like, well, that'd explain the dress. Like that's just such a perfect like yeah, like you don't even have to worry about it because the assumption is that if he's with a white woman who's twice his age, then he probably would dress a bit different. Like it's just,
Well,
yeah.
it's also like kind of because again, like I think this is a Cinema Sins one as well. But he was like, oh, but what if he just like looked up missing person Andre Hayworth? Then they'd see that he was missing, and I was like, but you've just shown a photo of him at a garden party with an older woman. So yeah, this still doesn't.
Yeah.
That's still bad.
Even if he was missing, you've just shown him be like, you know, as far as they're concerned, not missing. So it's like, well, there you go.
Mm.
And it's like, oh, this isn't a problem. This still isn't a problem. You're still picking out problems that aren't fucking problems. Go on, sir.
Oh, I mean, I was gonna say, wasn't that kind of like a social commentary in and of itself? Because like
Precisely.
when the police lady was like, "Okay, so tell me what's happening," he's like, "My boy is missing." She was really concerned because you know it's a black guy missing. Oh, so your son is missing? So she goes take a look. No, my boy, he's 26, and she'll go be like, she just put down her pen. And was like, all right, let's see where the fuck this is going. I was like, yeah, that sucks. A missing black man is like no one. She doesn't care. She didn't give a fuck at all. Missing black kid. It's like, all right, yeah, because that would make good like news stories stuff. That's in itself a social commentary of just like the whole situation and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, that's fucking brilliant because she brings her other two like detectives and he's like, hey guys, listen to this guy talk about it, and it's like, yeah, it's like they're sex slaves or something.
It's 6 days or some shit.
Like, and after they start cracking up, and it's like, yeah, don't tell me I didn't do it for you guys, and it's just like, you bitch, you absolute bitch. But it's like you think about it, it's like, yeah, I guess she wouldn't take it seriously because, yeah, everything didn't really shout missing persons. She just sounds like a guy who just went away from the city. But it's just like, you know.
I think he was a great character though. What's his name? Rod. I think he was just a good, not just a comic relief, but he was just a good like foil for like everything that was going on in the home as well. Just the way he reacted to it is kind of like how the audience would react to being presented to such information as that. And it's just like it's just like how he just explains it. It's like I'm just putting two and two together. It's a sex slave and some shit. It's just the way he says it all. And it's just like, yeah, he just get kind of like, even if he is kind of wrong, he kind of is he's right as well. He's wrong as well as being right. And he's suspicious as more than Chris is at the stage. So you kind of like emote to him and right. It's like, yeah, just listen to him.
It's just that classic thing of like he nails exactly what's going on. But
without intentionally doing so.
Good luck fucking explaining that.
Yeah, I love that kind of character where you've got like, I don't know, something really weird going on, and then just like the voice of reason who is equally weird because it's so absurd. Like it's such a. Yeah.
Well, it also covers that like the horror thing of like, why don't they call the police? And it's like, there you go. We've got a character who's pretty much devoted to just doing that like for us. Like sorted. Yeah, I wasn't like a fan of all the humor, but like I appreciate. Yeah, I appreciate his delivery and stuff like that, and like yeah, he's basically like there to explain the premise to other people, so they go like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" It's like, yeah, he's doing that pretty good. Like.
Yeah. And it kind of like, I don't know, it removes that element where you're kind of going, well, this doesn't make sense because you could have told this person or you should have left at this point, because it's like, well, you've got him and he's doing his best, but it's not quite as easy as that when your theory is that your best friend has become a sex slave. It's a really good character. I really like him.
Yeah.
Good old Rogers. What else can we say?
I have a. I don't even know if I need to get into this, to be honest, because me and Rob and Pat have discussed this ad nauseum.
Oh, it's the chair sequence.
This is yeah. I think Chris's escape is a bit bullshit, to be honest. I'll just do it.
Go on.
Okay, so there's a bit of a fucking story with this one. So, like, I had a problem with Chris ending up in the chair that he ends up in, having like padded bits on the handles, and I was like, if he doesn't wind up in this fucking chair, if he's just on some fucking wooden crap, he's fucked. Like, he has to have this fucking padded shit. Like, what is this? So I kind of went like, well, that was fucking lucky. He wound up in this one. Now, Rob said something ridiculous as well. He said half of all chairs are like that chair.
Yeah, I mean,
Half of all
there's a padded
chairs.
chair right there.
Yeah, but you are in Matt Monroe's sister's house. Like,
I would say like half of those like suburban white people home chairs.
it's like
are
a
that.
little, it's a little like stone
Yeah, but
globe
like
kind of sized thing.
yeah, but that's like the furniture that they used to those old grannies and old grandpas used to have. So I was like, I feel like
Yeah.
it's like coincident. Is it very like coincidental, right? Yes.
I haven't. Well, Rob said this to me, and I was like, okay, like, fair enough. And I was like, they're also trying to, they're also not accounting for him doing this, obviously, because that's insane. And also, like, if they're giving this body to someone as like a service, yeah, they want to keep it in comfort. So I was like, okay, I will take the L on this one. I will leave the
Yes, you
chair.
will.
Oh, all right, Pat. You're like the little friend of the bully. You're like, yeah.
I do feel like his head's supposed to be restrained, right?
Not that I remember.
'Cause,
Oh
like,
yeah, I mean they have to do it for like the brain surgery and that. I guess.
right, yeah, because like I was thinking, I kept thinking, was his head or neck not restrained? Because how the hell did he actually get it into his fucking ear? You know that.
Yeah,
cotton,
because
right?
he could like lean over.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you can lean forward. So that was another one I was like, and then I was like, no, actually, you can lean, and you can probably like if you were desperate enough.
Yeah,
you
if
could-
your handle's like.
you could kind of do it. I was like,
I guess.
that's all fine. So I took the L on the chair, but my big problem with this one is that they show in like a little scene that they don't want Chris. What I took was they don't want Chris awake more than he has to be. So they wake him up. They show him the coagular like video thing, and then once the coagular video is finished, they sedate him again. And it's like, okay, that's completely fine. In the following scene, they then show him having a video call with the blind guy, and then they leave him awake for a bit. And leaving him awake for a bit is where he goes, I'm going to stick cotton in my ears, and then I'm done, and everything. And this allows him to escape, and then they sedate him. It's dead quick, but they finish the call with the blind guy. He's left alone for a little bit, and then they sedate him. And my big problem with that one is they already went, wake him up, show him the video, sedate him. And they went, wake him up, show him a video call, don't sedate him for a bit, and then do it.
Oh,
And I think that's what
wasn't
allows
that-
him to escape.
Wasn't because it was in movie, wasn't it? Because it's supposed to mentally prepare him for this is happening. You're not gonna escape. So
Oh,
just
yeah.
that.
That's absolutely fine. But after the video call, that I think they should sedate him. And if they did sedate him, he wouldn't get out, particularly.
I think the thing with that, as I said in the week, is I think you have to, for that to be a problem with the film, I think you have to assume that they don't already feel safe in what they've done, so that would create the urgency to sedate him again. I don't think there's anything that suggests that they shouldn't feel safe, given that he's like strapped in and everything.
Yeah.
And then there's also the thing that it's a live video call this time rather than a pre-recorded thing. And at that point, they're preparing him for the operation and stuff. So there's obviously other things going on as well. And then also, it's what Simon just said as well. Like it's that thing where the blind guy says, I can't remember the exact word, but it's something along the lines of, if you understand the procedure
It goes
and
better.
you know what's happening, then there's a higher chance of success. And I think, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you just kind of tell him that, and then while he's still crying, there sedate him, I'm not sure that would constitute much of an understanding. Like,
Yeah, but again, that wasn't like a thing for like the instructional video
yeah, but why would it be?
because you're still like absorbing information. This is still new information he's getting. So if
Hmm.
he's got to be expected to absorb all of it,
Well, I don't think
why
he is
sedate him?
expected to absorb it to the point. Well,
Well-
when he has the video call, that's the point where there's a highest chance of success if he absorbs it all and understands it.
Yeah.
The thing with the thing with the pre-recorded video, that's really just kind of like, we're a creepy family and this is what we do. Like, they don't go into the they don't go into the actual procedure. Though.
Well, yeah. I was gonna say,
Hello, we are a creepy family. We do these
We
creepy
do.
things.
Would you like to eat some meat?
That's Texas Chainsaw Massacre again.
Yeah. It's the parallel.
Did you watch Get Out? It's just it's the same film again. We just go back and he scored it all exactly the same.
Oh no, definitely not.
No, don't watch that one again.
But I forgot what I was gonna say.
Creepy family. They do weird, creepy things.
I think it's more of a kind of explaining what's coming so you don't have a shock. It's kind of like when you get a tattoo. No, not a tattoo. If you're gonna get that's it. If you're gonna get a needle, you're gonna get blood drawn. You're gonna react better if you know it's coming than if you
Rather than
don't
if it's a
know it's coming.
surprise.
well, I mean,
That's the story
Got your
type.
blood.
no. Well, it's not even that though. It's like when your body goes into a sense of like shock, it all like tenses up and like can damage the body. So essentially, it's just the initial creepy family part is it's exposition, right? But like the second part, it's like, so relax your body because this is gonna happen. So we don't want to damage any of your precious organs or anything. So just relax. We're gonna take over your body in about 5 minutes.
That's
Don't worry
basically
about
what
it.
the military said.
Yeah. That's so it's like essentially your body doesn't go into like shock. Because imagine if Chris had a heart attack during that particular time, then it's like, well, fuck, it's all fucked. This whole situation is completely fucked. If Chris has a heart attack and like we got to refund the blind dude, it's like, geez,
We've got to find a new photographer for him.
yeah, and it's like, so it's like,
Get on Bing, find all the black photographers in the.
what the daughter was doing, right? She was like eating her cereal and drinking her milk, checking out NBA stars. Is what I was saying.
Yeah, she was looking for the top college athletes, which again is an interesting thing actually, because earlier on the brother says that he's into basketball. So is she looking for a new guy for him?
Interesting.
That's double creepy as well. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I fucked the guy who's gonna be my brother soon.
And her granddad.
Oh,
And her nan.
Yeah. How many guys did she have before Chris again? Because you saw the
Loads, wasn't it? It
photos.
was like she was hanging them like trophies on the wall, wasn't she? So
Yeah.
it's
Was
like,
there like about
All the photos.
8 or 10 of them?
yeah, something like
Yeah.
that.
You see, they've done it at least 8 or 10 times. That's the crazy thing. And Chris is like the 12th.
That's with her.
Oh yeah, because like Logan was like her brother's one, right?
Yeah.
Was with that fucking creepy. What was that song? That was
Run,
playing?
rabbit,
Yeah,
run,
fucking hell.
run,
Oh, that's so perfect. But again, so fucking creepy. Because even the guy was like, "No, fuck this. I'm gonna get out of this neighborhood." Like this, like, oh, okay, oh shit, he parked his car. Maybe I should run. No, if I run, it'd be too obvious. Just need to quick. Oh fuck, where's it? What's bang? Smashes it. It's like, oh no, you should have ran, dude. You should have ran.
I didn't notice until I I say notice. I didn't notice at all. Somebody had to tell me. I watched a video and they mentioned that opening sequence is just one long take.
Wow.
And then when I watched it back, I was like, man, that's very cool.
But if that guy had a lawn bowl, and the brother was standing in such a way where he had no peripheral vision of him, he'd have been fine.
But that's a situation where that wouldn't have happened.
And the film might not have happened.
Ooh. He just approaches, but like in reverse. That was my other bit of the problem, actually. It was when Jeremy goes and he does his drip stand thing, and he goes and he takes Chris's restraints off, and then he turns his back completely to him to very loudly do his drip thing, and then Chris gets out of the leather chair, walks like 5 paces that way, grabs a lawn bowl, walks 5 paces back, and hits him, all without a fucking sound. And it's all because Jeremy stood at that angle. If he was at that angle, he might have peripheral vision. But he stood at this angle, so he has nothing.
Yeah, but is it Jeremy supposed to be portrayed as kind of a fucking
Idiot.
idiot
Well,
anyways?
I
Yeah,
think you're portrayed
Yes,
as a
he is.
fucking
Yeah,
idiot.
Was he drunk? Was he still drunk at
He is
that
a
point?
fucking idiot. But yeah,
No, he's
yeah.
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 Speaking
No.
of Jeremy, though,
He had a
like
hat
that.
on.
I really like that dinner scene where he tries to wrestle him, and then he's like, "Oh, I wasn't going to hurt him." It's like it's another thing. It's like, oh, it's awkward, brother. And then the second time you watch it, it's like, no, it's in their interest not to hurt him. That's yeah.
Yeah.
So many double entendres and so much of that shit. I feel like I have to watch the movie a couple more times just to make sure and I've got to watch that alternate ending scene because I didn't know that existed at all.
I need to see that alternate ending scene because I feel like that would have made the film a whole lot more impactful.
Yeah, as soon as the call's finished,
That's
I mean,
I'm
I get-
sorry. I'm so annoyed knowing that exists. And then from when no, it made me sad. And they went,
I think it's a bit more than that. to
we
be
better
fair.
get
Yeah,
fucking
I
shot
think
of that
it's-
one. We better get
Okay.
a shot of it. People are
You know,
I don't think
Alex
it
is
was just a-
very black and white though.
I don't think it was just a case of people going like, no, that upset me, so I don't want it. Like, I think,
Yeah.
there's quite a big sort of real life context to it.
well, I guess the question is like because Chris got arrested in that alternate scene, right?
yes.
Yeah,
What I mean, what's the name of the girl again? Shit,
Rose?
Rose. Yeah, Rose was still dying on the floor. So, in theory, in the alternate ending scene, she would have survived, right?
quite
Actually,
possibly. Yeah,
No, in the alternate ending, because I watched it today, she dies straight up, and
Oh,
the
does she?
police come to the point, come to get Chris and see that she is dead on the floor, and
Because-
he's surrounded by all these dead bodies, and
because
Chris is
she-
just like,
Oh my god, I
shit.
need
Oh,
this
see,
fucking
that
scene.
Oh, then I guess that would change the ending completely. No, then I kind of agree with this ending more because you see the actress when when Chris is like strangling her and she's just like, "No, I love you." When she's got that fucking creepy smile on her face, right? But then when she sees the police car, she's like, "Oh, officer, help me!" And I was like, "You fucking ice cold bitch, Jesus fucking Christ!" And I was like, but then I thought airport police. I was like, yeah, it's right, yeah. I was so happy when I saw it. It's like,
Mm.
it was like, man, I didn't want to tell you, I told you so, but I told you so.
Motherfucker.
Anyway, they should have kept the alternate ending because it would have been a better film. And I'm sorry people got sad about it, but fuck off.
Not just being sad for fuck's sake.
No, everyone felt sad and they went, don't.
I
And I obviously don't know fuck all about it until Ben mentioned it this morning. Start of this call. It wasn't this
No, I
morning.
told you about it the other day, didn't I?
Yeah, I'm sure he's.
Well, I
mentioned-
forgot about it.
Alec gives no shits.
Just like the TSA. Oops, don't look at my shirt. Yeah. My favourite scene was the ending of the alternate variety, which they should have fucking kept.
Maybe we shouldn't have mentioned this or whatever.
Yeah, maybe. Regretting mentioning it now.
well,
It's ruined the
not,
film. Damn it.
it's not like a bad thing to know that there's an alternate ending. It's just more
It's a
to
bad
talk
thing for
about.
Alec to know that there's an
Oh, okay.
It's a good thing for some of us is that we have options. It's like in the mind of Jordan Peele, we know his original intention was this, and in this version that we see now is this version. So it's kind of like we have two different ways to appreciate the film.
Rorschach was an excellent example of this because Rorschach didn't negotiate. And he didn't care whose feelings he hurt, and he didn't care whose Alsatians he put a cleaver through the head of. And
True.
that's the kind of guy. That's the kind of guy who should have made this film. He should have gone, you know what, audiences, I'm gonna make you sad today. And they've been like, no, don't make us sad. And then they'd have made stop laughing at me. Sorry.
No, don't worry. We just have some.
No,
start
no.
Scraping the cups, right?
No, that's
Just
all right.
so good lows.
It's okay. Eb's laughing at me. Rorschach took no prisoners. And that's what Jordan Peele should have done, but he didn't because he's weak like Ozymandias. Anyway.
Okay. So favorite scenes, guys, or do you want to? Is there anything else you want to talk about?
My favorite is
I always get caught off with favourite scenes because I never think about it before the call.
you know what? I'm so glad it's not just me because I'm always just like I should really make an effort to think about this, and then
Do you guys not take
don't.
notes
I
at all?
never take the fucking notes.
No.
I always forget that we're going to do this bit, and then it comes up, and I have to like replay it in my mind to pick one.
It's like
I always have that little soundbite of you going, "What's everyone's favorite scenes then?" And I go, "Simon," and then I just never think about it past that.
it's like one of like two things I write down that are favorite scenes and funny people who could sponsor us for this video. But like that's the two things I write down. Favorite scenes for me is definitely when he meets everyone at that tea party. And sorry again, Alec, it's kind of like when people are like selling off cattle.
It's when people are in Scooby Doo selling off cattle.
There's actually the
I'd have sold those cattle too if it wasn't for those meddling
kids. Yeah.
Kids.
Or those Texas Chainsaw Massacre people. I don't know.
No!
In any case, but it's in all seriousness. So it's like parading cattle in front of people who are like, well, buying for a ranch, right? For like slaughter or for anything, right? And they're like, yes, look at his flesh, and it's like grabbing at him, and it's like, oh yeah, it's a good breed of cattle. Well, but I mean, they don't say it like that exactly, but essentially that is what it's like. They look at him as like as a piece of meat, and I thought that's as like even like the first time I watched it, like I was like, these guys are a bit creepy, man. I was like, why are they so creepy? I don't know why they're so creepy. Then you watch it a second time and you go, oh, right, this is truly disgusting. Because especially when he like, goes upstairs and they're like chatting and like,
yeah.
And it's like, oh fuck, that's creepy.
First time I watched it, I thought they were creepy for different reasons. Like, I thought that there was something similar and more to it, similar to what Rob to a more messed up level. Because I like, wait, obviously we've seen the hypnotism and stuff going on. And I was just like, no, that's effed up. So because as soon as he got hypnotized, it was just like, okay, I didn't know about the brain stuff, but I was just like, so did she hypnotize them so they're living in a sunken place, and this persona that they've put on top of that is the one that's basically controlling them, and they're not able to get out. I'm just like, this is freaking messed up. And then on top of that, the whole they could be used for slaves for all sorts of things, and I was just like, this is messed up. They either want him for similar reasons, or they have similar people already, and they're just appreciating the goods. I was like, this is pissing me off.
Yeah.
And then obviously we find out it's like, yeah, Rod wasn't too far off, and I wasn't too far off. This is.
I think what makes that scene so strong is kind of similar to the line that I was talking about earlier that the blind guy says about wanting Chris's eyes. because you've got the guy who's like, oh yeah, I know Tiger, let me see your stance and like that kind of thing, and then you've got the other guy who's like, oh, the pendulum's swinging back to black, and now black's in fashion, and all of that kind of stuff, and it's just like layers and layers of people who don't see Chris as a person. They just see him as something that can benefit them, or something that they can become good at because of him. Like nobody sees Chris. They just see like this thing that is good for them.
Yeah, like a product, right?
Yeah.
A piece of flesh.
Yeah.
So gross.
Yeah, that's a fantastic montage.
Okay, so anyone else for favorite scenes?
I think as much as I moaned about the circumstances of his escape being bullshit, I did like elements of them. Because I distinctly remember when I first watched it with Eb, the bit where he comes out and he like impales Bradley Whitford on like the antlers. Me and Ed both went, "Fuck yeah!" Like it was so good. I also really liked him fighting with Jeremy when he's like kicking the door shut, and so he's kind of like, you know, losing consciousness, and he's like, I've got to do just this one more, and he goes and opens the door, and then he kicks him out, and he like stabs his leg, and it's like, I really like this protagonist being fucking clever. Like that's really fucking neat. Also, actually, I think the first sort of sunken place scene where he first gets hypnotized, I think that's fucking great. Big fan of that. She just gets him to like immerse himself in like this very painful memory, and I don't know, it's just so like organic, I guess.
Isn't that really the main focus? Is like them talking, but in the background you hear that the scraping of that teacup, but it gets more focused. Like, is focused the right word for sound?
I guess so.
Yeah, but like, you know, you kind of like it gets more like distinct. You hear it even more clearer as that scene goes on, and
it's one of those things where, like, I remember distinctly the first time we watched it, I didn't pick up on it, but knowing to look for it, I was like, "Fucking hell, she's doing that a lot," and I was like, "That is such a fucking cool little thing where like." That's how it works. You don't pick up that she's doing it on the first shot, and it's only when you really pay attention for it that you're made aware of it. I was like, that's nice. I like that.
And made aware of
the teacup scraping noise.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't really aware of it the first time I watched this, but knowing to look for it, I was like, hey. Stop it.
Fair enough. And I think like as soon as maybe it's because I don't know, maybe because I was expecting something like that with a lot of hypnotism and kind of stuff, and depending on how susceptible it is. And maybe even things like how they only go a tiny bit into it, but Now You See Me.
Yeah. I don't think Alex
Emmanuel, I'm so disappointed.
Wait, is it like the movie about the magicians?
Yes.
Right. I was thinking
the
like,
movie about the magicians.
I was like, oh my god, that movie is not like. I mean, I choose bad movies. I guess they're worse than this, but worse than Now You See Me, but like not that much worse than Now You See Me again.
Now You See Me Too.
Oh, right. I forgot there was a sequel.
It should have been called Now You Don't.
It should have been, yes. They missed a trick.
I swear they made that joke in the second film. Anyway, I like.
No one watched the second film.
I did.
Oh, come on.
In near Greenwich University as well, in front of that. Yeah, that was quite cool. I there were a lot of practical tricks in there. In terms of magic tricks, it was just a cool showcase. Anyway, in terms of hypnotism, there tends to be a trigger. So I noticed like she would be doing her cup like obviously doing when they was drinking. I was just like, is that just one of her habits? Then she was doing it in the session. Like, wait a minute, is that what she uses? And he goes and it's like, oh, and then obviously that sound persistent. I was just like, man, that's up. He's one of the susceptible ones, right?
Yeah, that whole setup of that is really good, I think, because like I don't know, like just like if you like, it's just that bit where she asks if he smokes in front of her daughter, and then she's like, "That's my kid, man." And it's just like, yeah, you probably would be quite suggestible to being hypnotized after that moment. Like it's
Okay, so like anyone else? Or,
Oh, I can say what I think my favorite scene is.
please.
Or favorite. Let me say my favorite.
I don't know if you're ready for it.
What?
No,
Nice.
no, everyone else is quiet. So please, Emmanuel, speak and save us.
Fuck off.
I mean, if you want to get out, just leave the meeting. Anyway, no. So yeah, I like when all the violent stuff happening. He's getting out, of course. I also like the friend, just the fact that the friend. Actually, I think my favorite part to all of it is that the friend like followed through, actually went to find him and was just like, nah, I'm finding my friend. I'm gonna do this. I don't care. I did like also when the friend was warning him and was just like, look, dude, you need to leave. You need to leave. Yes, unfortunately, our guy, the main character, isn't more like Raj. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been much of a film, and he would have he would have legged it. He wouldn't even have stayed to ask the girlfriend to drive. He just would have been like, you know what? I'm gonna just, while I'm by myself, I'm gonna dip out, and I don't know. I'm gonna figure it out later. Oh, Rod wouldn't be in that position in the first place.
Yeah, he would.
True.
He
was too
would
much
have.
of a Chad.
Yeah, I mean, no, he would have seen he would have hit the deer and says, "This is a sign that I need to leave." Okay, I'm gonna turn back now. But it was just a deer. Nah, I don't have a good feeling. Let's go home now. but
Could you picture that? They go out to the door and he's like, "Come in, call me, call me Trevor," and he's just like, "Nah, I ain't coming in. I'm standing right out here."
I think there's many points, like even from the first red flag, there's many points where he possibly either wouldn't have gone or just turned around or just been like, it's all right, I'll get a cab, I'm cool, all right, bye. Like, had a great time, gotta get back to my dog. All right, see. But yeah, I think that's my favorite bit. It's just Rod, basically.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. I don't blame the main character. It is just frustrating.
Yeah, she's fit as fuck.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Aw, excuse me.
Yeah, he did. No, I'm not. Like, no, that would have made no difference to me.
Poor.
Yeah, but you know, you and his characters not the same person, right? He might have been like, "Damn, she a bit crazy, but that's a mad puss." But
Jesus.
but it's kind of like that could have been exactly my fault. Like, so I don't want to stay here.
The age rating on
sure,
our
sure.
video's gone up.
I'd never thought I'd hear someone say "mad puss," but I definitely didn't think it would come out of Simon's mouth.
Emmanuel, you look really pained inside, man.
This is not mad. This is too mad.
Well, I'm more, so that's there's so many points. Just like to no, no. Oh man.
Hey, I'm just saying, if I got hypnotized, I'd be like, hey, you know what? I would leave. However, she's got some mad puss. Sorry.
Yeah, that's me.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you guys, but like, okay. Anyone else for their favorite scene?
Alec already said my one.
What's it to do with the mad puss?
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes. Obviously, like Rob, it's kind of hard to decide because there's so much like good moments throughout this movie. But the one that like struck me the most when Alec comes down is when Chris is like restless in his sleep and he can't get off, and so he gets up and goes outside to just considers like having a quick smoke in the night, and then he sees like who we finally figure out who it is the grandfather just doing his lap across the grounds of the house, and he's just bolting full pelt towards him like in this most scary and most intimidating way, and it's just like scares the crap out of him, and that moment just like something seriously is wrong here, and then it just like something turns a sharp right and just runs off, and then Chris is like, oh, what the fuck was that? And then he turns this back to the house and he sees the grandmother just looking out the window and just like doing something with her hair, but she's looking at her reflection. And obviously until we see the film a few more times after that, we know that yes, she's admiring herself in the mirror, or the mirror or reflection of the window rather than looking out, which is quite interesting because that's who she is now. She is this person. And Chris doesn't obviously know that. He just thinks he's been spied upon. But then, oh shit, no, she's just looking at herself. And he goes back in the house. So there is so much in those couple of moments that I found like quite, not just shocking, but like really quite interesting. And like, there is a lot of depth and nuance in there that I thought was quite impressive. So yeah, that's my favorite moment.
Nice.
Georgina's actress does need a fucking Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
She's so it is so fucking good. And I think like just as like you were saying, like I think it's like at points where she's not even like trying to be freaky, and that's what's the freaky fucking part about it. Like, but I've said too much.
Well, I would say this, when they are actually trying to like break free from like the mental hold, like it's Logan, and what was the actual other person's name that's in his body as well?
So Dre is the original guy, but Logan is the guy who's in his body.
Okay, because when Chris takes the picture with his phone and it flashes Logan, you see the production value for it is quite good, because you see that his eyes actually get like overcast and cloudy. Or
Yeah,
like
it
it's
almost look
obviously
like he's got like cataracts.
yeah, and after
Yeah,
then after the nose actually starts to bleed a bit. Then after it's like, damn, that's such good, like that's such like if you probably notice it, but it wouldn't really register to you that it's actually like him like trying to like get out of the sunken place, kind of like swimming towards the surface. Because the sunken place is like through his vision, so it's like kind of like blurring the water's edge, and that's just like, oh, that's that's really clever of how they've done it. And it's like then after he can take over his body a little bit more, to get out. But it's like he still can't like reach that like surface, and it's like, oh, that's damn.
Yeah, I really like that. That whole sequence is so good, man. And I think just generally speaking as well, all of the actors that are sort of playing kind of like sort of dual personalities almost do really well. I really like the bit with the granddad where sort of Chris is talking to him as a groundskeeper and he's kind of like replying as a granddad. And he's like, yeah, she's a doggone keeper, and like all of that kind of stuff. Like it's so creepy, but it works so well.
Yeah. Because someone like Chris, who doesn't have this knowledge at that point, is like, how would you like comprehend that? You're like, what the hell's he going on about? Is he like mentally handicapped or what? It's like, what the hell's going on?
He's so white, he's mentally handicapped.
Yeah.
Also, I want a supercut of the amount of times where we've said "get out" without actually meaning to reference the film title.
Get out, Alec.
I feel like we've done it a lot.
You can kind of do that with all of Jordan Peele's films, to be fair. Like when somebody picks us, well, I'm sure we'll do that one quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, Pat's going
If
to
somebody picks Nope, I'm sure somebody will be strongly against it.
Oh,
yeah, I'm sure that will be Alec for both times.
It is going to be a landmine.
No, I like that one.
It's just a
No, yeah, yeah. There's a film called Yep, no doubt, and
yeah. Do you know, I think for my favourite scene, I think I'd agree with you, Simon. I think the one where he's meeting everybody at the party I think that's like the most loaded one. There's just so many things. I even really like in that scene where the groundskeeper is the guy sort of like greeting everyone out of their cars, and then it sort of makes sense when you realise he's actually the head of the household. He's not the groundskeeper. Like I think that's really cool. But I think a scene that kind of, I don't know, like I wouldn't call it a favourite scene, and I don't think it's like the most impressive scene or anything like that. But I really like the bit where Chris and Rose are driving. And I was thinking actually that's kind of like a little common thread in horrors that I really like, because that's now 3 that I've picked that start like that. So this, The Shining, and Evil Dead all start with a car journey to a bad place.
Which is ironic because I'm only ever scared when I'm in your car.
Yeah.
This is when you pick a Jason Statham film next, isn't it?
I don't know about that. I'm not sure. Well, actually, I think there's one Jason Statham film I like. But
Please tell me it's Crank.
Oh, it's about to say that.
I've just got a feeling there is one.
No, it's called Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and that's the only acceptable one.
Mean Machine is another one.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No,
That's a fun film.
Snatch is also a good one, but we've done that already.
Was he in Snatch? I don't even remember him.
Yeah, he
He's
was.
the main
he
character
was,
of Snatch.
Yes, he is in Snatch, you're right. Yeah. Maybe it's because they called him Turkish. I just believed it.
He's not. Yeah, my name's Fred Snatch.
Collateral was quite good.
Some sense.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Was he in that?
back to Christopher Get Out. Who gets out?
I think we've all done our favourite scenes, right?
That's right.
So
In conclusion, it good.
Yeah.
it could.
Sorry, Ben.
The
that's
alternate
your-
ending might have been better.
Yeah, it would have definitely been fucking better. I will accept no.
I'm happy with this one, but
What-
anyway, yeah.
No, carry on.
I'll
Say your thing.
yeah, go on, man. You're going.
Say what I was trying to think. But yeah,
Oh,
Okay. I was gonna ask, because you guys have talked about like the ending having like a big like alternate scene. Was there like any sort of like alternate like scenes for the whole movie? You told me about the like the guy running up to him and going, "I beat I finally beat you, Jesse, was like cut out. It's like for good reason. Was there anything else that was like a very like iconic or scene that was that was changed? You guys know, because I have not seen like the DVD special, right? So I have no idea, absolutely no clue.
It's not a scene that was cut out or anything like that, but there is an interesting bit. So, you know where it's after the party, it's dark out, and Jeremy is kind of stood on the porch playing a ukulele.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, so there, so there was this big thing where everyone was like, "Oh, I can't remember what the song is," but everyone was like, "Oh, he's playing a slower version of this Italian song," and that Italian song, like the kind of meaning behind it is, "This is the end of the road, like you're about to die," and that kind of thing. It's originally on cello or something like this, but everyone was like, "Oh, that's really clever. He's playing a slow version of that song on a ukulele, which is seen as kind of like a lower class instrument and all this kind of stuff." And then there was this interview with Jordan Peele where they asked him about it, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I'd love to say that that was the idea, but I just told him to play anything."
So I like the idea. He was like, okay, play that Spanish song about the black people being hypnotized and turned into slaves. Yeah. I could have phrased that better, but I didn't. I'm sorry. And on that note,
so who is actually next doing it next week? Is it you, Alec, or is it?
no, I can't do next week.
So it is Emmanuel's turn, right?
Yeah, allegedly.
Right.
Allegedly. We have reason to believe it is Emmanuel's pick.
It's the return of foreign film round.
No.
What's for a foreign room?
What was the reason you couldn't make it again? Will you be able to make the call?
It's
Why
my no, I can't. It is my grandmother's and my dad's birthday.
Oh.
Shit.
Oh.
Being
Excuses.
considerate of them to do it at the same time.
August fucking sucks.
No, your cookies. All right, take them out. All right.
So you'll be free of my commentary for next round. Next round, next pick. I'm fucking drunk.
next pick. You might have like no problems with it. I don't know.
It's hard to tell, really.
Am I saying it now?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
Mate.
you go for it.
Did anyone want to say anything else?
Nah.
I haven't said anything during the call, and I'm not going to start now.
I mean, I have, but
I
You go
finished, so I'll start.
I've started, so I finished.
Well, most people have probably seen this film. I haven't. It's not really like my style to pick something most people have seen. But I was like, you know what? I really want to see it. Whatever.
Oh, I've got an idea of what it might be. I won't say it. But
It's the Emperor's New Groove, isn't it?
Say it. I wanna
Super 8?
Huh?
Super 8?
No, but that would have been a good pick.
It's the Emperor's New Groove, isn't it?
But I don't know if I want that as a pick. I want to see that personally, but I'm not sure if it's good enough.
I
It's
like it. I
Lion
think
King.
it's quite good.
Okay, cool. No. So American Psycho.
Oh, interesting.
Oh.
I studied that at uni.
Damn it! These fucking. Can I just say the oven gloves really added to that?
American Psycho.
American Psycho.
Alex,
Hmm?
what did you say?
I said the oven gloves really added to that.
But yeah, that's my pick.
Oh, I'm very excited for reasons.
right,
Flash
I'm off
for-
to bed.